This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
All right, the customer's calling saying their kitchen AC is not working. First off, look at that condenser. It's a blanket. That's insane. But I also hear like a weird noise. Yeah, we got a condenser fan motor failure too, looks like. All right, well, let's dive into this. We'll get it figured out. All right, we go to the control cabinet. The AC is running. Spider webs everywhere, that's nice. Let's see what this guy says. Menu, data, history, alarms, strike the compressor 2, high pressure or temp, clear, strike the compressor 2, high pressure, yeah, just high pressure codes. A whole it's been going on for a while. All right, so we hit back. Okay, we go to data, history, clear alarm history. Boom, done. Okay, so now the history is cleared. We're gonna go ahead and shut this guy down. We know we've got a problem with the fan motor. Actually, before I shut it down, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna test this fan motor to see if we've got voltage. If we've got voltage at the motor, we'll check the bearings. So let's go ahead and get this guy opened up right here. We opened up the coil door. I pulled off the electrical plug, but when I spin this guy, it's locking up. You can tell that it has tight bearings. I don't even need to check voltage. That motor is definitely bad. So we're gonna go ahead and shut this guy down and go ahead and clean the coils. We'll change the motor because we're gonna pull the whole side off. And then we'll evaluate the system after we get the condenser cleaned and the motor changed. All right, first thing we're gonna do is get the surface stuff off. So we're gonna run the wand from the inside out, just blasting out all the stuff as much as we can. And then once we get all the surface stuff off, we'll clean from the inside out first. And then we'll clean from the outside and kind of at a downward angle and push more of it off. And then we'll get some coil cleaner on here. So you want to do this so that way you don't embed the dirt anymore and it's easier for it to come out the natural way it went in, right? As opposed to trying to shove it through the coil the rest of the way. So, always try to do that. And I got Angel on the other side, my coworker, over there changing the condenser fan motor. Okay, so we got that side done. And then there's still a lot over here, so we're gonna rinse this off real quick. And then, like I said, we'll get coil cleaner on there. We got the surface stuff off. Now I'm gonna go ahead and push through the rest, and then we'll do the cleaner. Now you gotta watch out, because you can see that water goes through that coil pretty darn good. Right, so that's why you gotta watch out for the motors. You don't want the motor to get messed up. I try to shoot it from the inside out first. I'm wondering if I could go downstairs and get into their water heater room and maybe get on the hot water down there. Because hot water would help so much on this.
You're not using cleaner?
I'm going to, but I don't want to have to use the blue cleaner, which is the wrong one. So if I could get hot water, then I could use the yellow cleaner and it'll get it, because there's just a slight bit of grease.
Maybe it's flipped, as in hot.
I've seen that before. Yeah, go look and see. Just call me. And then if not, I'll have you open up the water heater room and see if there's a hot water tap. Just because it's a tap doesn't mean it's hot. You got to feel the line in the water heater room, but. You can see that it's a time-consuming thing. It's not a race. You got to get it done and get it done right. So we just take our time. The one that I'm using right now is from Lowe's. A lot of people ask me. I got no affiliation with them. I probably should set up an affiliate program, but it's an Orbit wand, and this thing is my go-to. We bought so many of these at my company. Absolute go-to. What's up, man? You there? What's that? It's not feeling like it. Keep it running and then open up that water heater room and see if there's something in there. I'm just gonna let the water keep running. It might take a minute to heat up. But I bet you it just doesn't work on hot. Just get the manager to open the door for you. And just call it the water heater room or mechanical room. Turned it on hot?
Yeah.
Come on. That sucks. It better get hot. I'm waiting. It's getting there. It's getting there. Okay. It's just taking a minute. All right. Yeah, just keep on going. So all I'm gonna do is get the condenser really wet with the hot water now, and then I'll apply coil cleaner. So I'm gonna see if the hot will get any more of the gunk off. So we actually went downstairs and found a hot water connection. We had to reroute the hose to a different spot in the restaurant, and hot water will help us because there's the slightest bit of grease on this coil, and so I want to give the coil cleaner a fighting chance. Now, sometimes these coils get so coated in grease that with the customer's permission, we have to use the wrong coil cleaner because of, you know, just the way that they built the restaurants. I know a lot of people say there shouldn't be an exhaust fan next to a AC. 100%, if they let me help build the restaurant, I'd put the exhaust fans at the furthest end of the building. But this is how they are. And, you know, there's not much you can do. You can put extensions, but it's still not gonna do a whole lot, and it's gonna make it miserable to work on. It's just a pain in the butt. So, just what we have to deal with. So we're getting the coil nice and hot with the coil cleaner, and then once we do that, we'll be ready to put some coil cleaner, you know, on it and then do its thing. So just gonna move around. As if you probably think I'm crazier than I normally am, I'm talking to a microphone and I have a camera watching me. So.
I was wondering when the camera was out.
Yeah. Sometimes I do that. All right. We are using the Viper Venom Pack, the yellow condenser coil cleaner. This is microchannel safe. It's not gonna harm the aluminum, okay? So we're gonna pour a little bit of cleaner in here. This is pure concentrate. Keep in mind, this bag says 9 gallons of cleaner if you mix it correctly, okay? So you don't use the whole bag. You're using way too much if you do, okay? Now I'm going a little heavy on this because I know this is gonna take probably a couple coats, all right? And then I'm using Refrigeration Technologies' coil gun. Now their coil gun looks the same as other coil guns, but the dilution ratios are different, okay? It's tailored more to their cleaners so you don't waste as much cleaner. If you use the other brand one, it will work, but the dilution ratios are not correct. They use way too much cleaner on that other gun from the manufacturer. It's I don't know if they designed it that way or what, but that's why you burn through way too much of that stuff, okay? Now I'm also putting a wand on the end of the coil thing. The wand is actually from Calgon, and it helps you to get on the inside. It just happens to fit on the Refrigeration Technologies thing. So we're gonna start on the B setting. A is the least amount of cleaner. B is gonna be the next level up. We are gonna go a little bit heavier on the cleaner, but nothing crazy, okay? But the other thing to understand is on the other company's gun, Calgon's gun, the letters are the opposite. So I believe A uses the most cleaner, if I remember right. It's been a while since I've used the Calgon gun. Okay, so with this wand right here, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna spray from the inside out. It's gonna allow the cleaner to get in there, and we're just gonna go up and down, right? Make sure I put my glasses on to protect my eyes. I got my gloves on. I'm not the best at following safety stuff, but when you're working with these cleaners, you really need to be. Okay, so we're just applying it from the inside out, and then we'll do outside in. And the cool thing about the yellow Venom pack is that it's not gonna hurt anything. So I just get it all over everything, right? If you use the blue stuff, it'll clean the top layer of the aluminum right off. It etches the coil. And again, with the customer's permission, I've had to do that, but I prefer not to because it degrades the life of everything, right? So we're just gonna keep applying, do all 4 sides of the condenser. We're gonna let it sit. Then we'll basically rinse it off and then, you know, potentially repeat if we have to. Now, once I get the coil cleaner on here, I'm actually gonna take a brush and lightly work it into the coil without damaging it. Because the brush will actually help, but you gotta be very careful that you're not messing up the fins basically, right? So, but we're gonna get this on first, all from here, just like that, inside and outside, all surfaces, and then we will, like I said, brush it in. So I just got a yellow brush from Home Depot. Just gonna kind of work it in here, nothing crazy. Good thing I have glasses on, I just splashed my face with it. Despite what people think, you can damage the microchannel fins. They get weak, you can start bending them. So just watch it as you're brushing, make sure it's not bending them. Okay, pretty good. And we're gonna give it a bunch of rinses, inside, outside, and go to town. It's doing a really good job. I can see the grease coming off the condenser. It's actually turning the silver color, which, you know, you don't always want it to turn silver, but because you are kind of cleaning off just like some nuisance stuff sometimes. But when there's grease though, the more grease you get off, the better, because I guess what I'm saying is if the metal starts to oxidize or whatever and change colors, you know, it's not necessarily the best thing to get it all shiny silver unless it truly needs it. Now this has grease, so I'm gonna try my best, but we're also gonna be careful about what we do. What's up, man? Yeah. No, I don't know what we're gonna have to change. I just ordered a few of them. I know we need 3 for one side, but I ordered enough in case we run into other problems too. So, definitely need 3, but I think Will said he fixed a leak on the other side too on one of the coils, so we might need to change one on the other side too. I think he said it was a 10 by 12, but I know he already fixed a leak on one, so we're gonna use probably 3 smalls and 1 10 by 12. I mean, at that point, you almost should just change them all, but I don't know. I think there's 2 on the waitress side, 3 on the cook side, I think. Yeah. So, we might change all 5, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. And we're already 4K into that, so. Oh, by the time, okay. Gotcha. Appetizer sandwich station. It's a custom built-in reach-in. 3 doors on the waitress side, drawers and doors on the cook side, and 2 pan chillers. We don't know, man. We've been having problems with one of them, so we're probably going to change maybe 1 TXV on the pan chiller side at least. So, for the cold rail, because that's where they're at. Yeah, just tell them they got a lot of problems, and this one's going to be a big one. So, just the FYI, but there's no avoiding it. We've been topping it off, trying to get them going, but you know, the leaks are happening way too fast now. So, all right, dude, bye. Answer. What's up, Will? Where you at? Oh, okay. That's because it's flooding. You need to close them down. Well, but you just do even turns on all of them. And then that should be it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. When you're closing it down, which way are you going with the stem? You're going right? So, okay, okay, TXVs are upside down. So that means that in order to raise the superheat, the stem needs to go to the power head. The stem goes up into the valve with the power head being the top. To raise the superheat, you bring the stem down to bring the superheat down. So you're going to the right. I would go to the other ones and do 1 full turn on each TXV closed and see if you get a reaction out of that. So 1 full turn, if you got to do it in quarter turns, then 4 quarter turns. And then give it a few minutes and see if you see an improvement. And then but then don't do that one and do the other ones until you can try to match them. I don't know if you necessarily need to go all the way in, but you know, do it in 1 turn increments, then give it you got to give it 10-15 minutes, and then you'll start to see changes. If you're, well, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so if nothing's upside down, if you're looking at the stem to the right is always going to be closing it down. If it's up or down, it doesn't matter, because going to the right, again, you're going to the right from looking at the stem. So if it's upside down, then you're still looking at the stem, you're going right. Yeah. And if you get lost, all you have to do is back it out all the way, count the turns, split that in half, go back in that many turns, and then now you're back in the factory position. So if you ever get lost, you just count the turns, divide it in 2, the factory position's always in the middle. And then you start from there. But I would suggest closing the other ones down. The one that you're seeing somewhat of a TD on, you know, close all the other ones down, then see if you start to see a TD. You're only gonna see anywhere from 3 to 6 degrees at the most TD on those coils. So you're not gonna see a whole lot. So just try closing it down and seeing what you can get. All right, bye. You know which one's which?
Show me
180H, is that what we have?
Matches the number of fans.
It doesn't matter matching number of fans. Look at the model number on the unit. It's LGH 180H. 180H, that's it. Okay, so which one did you change? Condenser fan motor number 3.
I haven't changed it yet. But
No, I'm saying, but you changed motor number 3. So you need to change condenser fan capacitor number 3. That one right there. And then when you get that changed, then go in here and pull one wire off of each capacitor. Actually, probably just go, is the power off? Yeah, power's off. But just once you get this one installed, then pull both wires off and test each capacitor. Make sure that they're within range. Okay, we're gonna do one last coating. Coil cleaner real quick. Nothing crazy. We already got through the coil. We're just getting the surface stuff now. One more time. Let it sit for a sec. We'll give it a scrub down and then we'll wash one more time. Cool thing about this gun, take this off and it's a direct jet. So you can get far to reach places. So I can get the whole coil. I'm just getting the surface, like I said. Much coil cleaner left, so I'm just going to finish it off real quick.
Get it 9.5 exactly on the floor.
And what does it say to do? What does it say on the capacitor?
10 plus or minus 5%, and that is 9.5 the minimum.
9.5 the minimum?
9.5 exactly.
What are the other ones giving you?
980, 990.
Okay, so let's change that one. It's right at the threshold. Let's go ahead and change it. Yeah, it's right there, so might as well. Then get it done, okay? So we got to go down to my van.
Your key step.
Okay, open up the slider. Top drawer is labeled capacitors on the right-hand side. Look in there. There should be a 10 microfarad capacitor. Just be careful, the drawer might get stuck. So just push the stuff down, open it, look around in there. It'll be towards the middle. If you can't find it there, then give me a call. I know I have capacitors in there though. So when you're doing these condensers, it's so important to take the air blower like I did and blow the water out. Here's the reason why. These fan motors move air, but they have a hard time moving air across the whole coil evenly, especially when it's saturated with water. So once it clears a passage, that's going to be the path of least resistance. It's going to pull most of the air through there. You know, then it's going to take a while. Eventually it'll dry out. The condenser will get hot, the water will evaporate, but if you need this unit to work right away and you want to be able to troubleshoot it on a repair, instead of waiting hours for it to completely dry out, take the air blower like I did, blow it out. It's still going to have a little water. We're still going to have to wait a little bit, but not as long. But you can see I blew the heck out of this thing. Now watch, it's still going to have water in it. Look, it still has a bunch of water. The surface tension, I think is what it's called, retains that water and it just packs it in there. So it's always going to take a while for these condensers to dry, these microchannels. All right, we got the condenser cleaned up. We're putting all the panels on. It looks a lot better. Look at that. So that Viper cleaner does a good job, but it also helped that I brushed it, you know. We're about to pull the metal mesh filters. We're going to get those washed. I also washed every other condenser, but I didn't pull the other ones apart because this was the worst of them. Also cleaned everything from around the unit so that way the dirt doesn't dry up potentially and suck back up. We got to give this place a fighting chance. It's like this cottonwood crap from, I don't know if it's from the pine trees that they have or what. We got pine cones all over the floor too. But yeah, it just cakes this thing within weeks. We did full maintenance here. I made a video. I had a short where I was saying coil cleaning time couldn't come fast enough and I had all my stuff on those. That was like a month and a half ago and it was plugged. But yeah, they do maintenances here now. Like they're on it. So anyways, we washed everything down, washed it down to the drain. I'm gonna go downstairs, turn off the hose. We're putting all the panels on. And then like I said, oh, actually I'm not gonna turn off the hose yet because we gotta wash the metal mesh filters first. All right, my unit is all running. Dried the condenser as best as possible. My coworker went to go get some new metal mesh filters because I tried washing them and they were just falling apart. So he's gonna put those, he's gonna come back out here and put those in. As far as the unit, all 3 stages have been running for about 20 minutes. So we should be pretty stabilized out. First stage is not looking too bad. The app that I'm using is called Measure Quick. It's a free app on the Play Store and the Apple Store, all that. It works. I'm using an iPad, not last year's model, or not this year's model, but the previous year. As far as the case, it's from Rockform. It only fits the older iPad, so FYI. Everybody's always asking me those questions, so I figure I'd start asking them or answering them. All right, so first stage, nothing too crazy. Our head pressure's a little lower than target, but we might still have a slightly wet condenser, or it might just be probe placement, so I'm not too worried about that. Subcoolings doesn't seem horrendous to me. Let's see, out of curiosity, liquid line temp is 94, outdoor air temp is 92, so we might still have a slightly wet condenser, just slightly wet, but this is looking pretty darn good. Let's go to second stage. Now remember, we had high pressure codes, right? So we're looking for issues that would cause high pressure. If anything, we're running under the targets right now because we just cleaned it. Subcooling's a little bit higher, looking much better. Superheat's where I'd expect it to be. I don't see any issues with that. Third stage, give it a second for everything to kind of come in line. Third stage looks a little lower on subcooling. Superheat's where it's supposed to be. I bet you anything we're still a wet condenser, I really do. Liquid line temperature is 102. Oh, see, this one's looking a lot better. 102, 52. Well, let's do one thing. So, third stage condenser. Second stage is the top. Third stage, I believe, is the bottom halves. Oh wait, this is microchannel. I don't know how microchannel works. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try moving. I don't know where it's getting its airflow from. Sometimes you gotta move it to different spots. Let's do that. See how that reacts and see if it changes anything on the third stage. All right, I pulled out the manual. According to the manual, we're a 15 ton, so it's a 180H. It is what I thought it was. First stage is the top half of the front of the condenser. Second stage is the top half of the back condenser. And third stage is the bottom half of the front and the back. Let's go see if this still has water in it. So if we come down here, I'm reading back. I don't feel any water. I can see air, light through it, like really good, but I don't feel any water. So I don't think we have a wet condenser anymore. No, it's not wet. So with that being said, might need to put a little gas in this guy because I'd expect that subcooling to be a little bit higher comparatively looking at the other units. We're running 7 on one, almost 10 on the other, and then we're running, hang on, 1 degrees on the third. There's not, I mean, there's slightly a higher load on the third stage, so I'd expect the expansion valve to be opening a little bit more, but superheat is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's maintaining 10 degrees. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put a little bit of refrigerant in the third stage. Just gonna top it off. I don't know. Again, we gotta be careful because this is 410A, so we don't wanna overcharge this. So I'm gonna put a little bit in there. If we go to the rest of the unit, it's 95 degrees outside. TD is about 20 degrees. I did close the outside air damper. Airflow seems to be where it should be. Delivered capacity is almost there. We should be at 162 approximately. We're doing 133. We're a little shy on delivered capacity. So yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit of gas to that third stage. It is Friday, August 8th, and I've got calls lined up. So we are not doing a leak search on this guy today. As long as I don't have to add a ton of gas, we'll come back and do a leak search later. But I don't see, like, as I was working, I was paying attention and I wasn't seeing anything, but we need to tear this unit apart, you know, and do a leak search. But when we got a lot of calls, we're just kind of triaging things. So we're running at about 2 degrees subcooling. It is really easy to overcharge microchannel condensers. So I can't stress enough, ounces at a time. and give it some time. So hooked it up, inverted the tank, purged it until liquid came out, closed the valve, then just cracked it. And as pressure was coming out, I screwed it on. That way we keep air out of the system. And we're just adding refrigerant. All 3 compressors need to be running when you're checking charge on these units. Even the manufacturer states that. I mean, look at this. It's already at 6 degrees and I barely added ounces. So we're just gonna give it some time. I didn't even really add that much. We're not adding any more right now. Just give it some time and see what it does. All right, it's been running for a bit. I added ounces, I think. I'll check when I go downstairs. But first stage, I didn't add anything to that one. First stage is at 8 degrees. Second stage, I didn't do anything to that one. It's at 10 degrees. Third stage, that's the one I added a couple ounces to. We're at like 8 or 9 degrees, somewhere in there. Everything else seems to be in line. I don't really want to add any more gas. It's 93 degrees outside. Temperature split's still good. Estimated airflow seems fine. Delivered capacity is still a hair shy, but there's not really much more I'm going to do about that. I want to see outdoor ambient 93, liquid line 99. So let's go to first stage. 98 degree liquid ambient or liquid temp, 94 degrees, and then 96. Yes, I mean, it's all right within range. So that's it. That's all they're going to get on this one. This thing's probably doing as best as it can. And I'll be honest with you, if it's ounces, I'm not even coming back for a leak search. It could just be from taking gauges off. But yeah, this guy's working a lot better than it was. We had a plugged up condenser and a bad condenser fan motor. I had my coworker change the condenser fan motor, and he also changed the capacitor. So while he was in here and we had the power turned off, I had him check the capacitors, and he found that the third stage capacitor, I think it was that one, was one of the other ones, I don't remember which one, was a little low. It was right at the threshold of being low on the microfarads. So we went ahead and changed the capacitor on one condenser fan motor, changed the other condenser fan motor right here. It's moving air like it should be. So all is well. We're gonna tell the customer to keep an eye on it, and I'm gonna get to my next calls because summertime and it's hot and we got a lot of stuff going on. Even though I'm busy, I still try to give the customer the best service that I can. You know, we're not perfect, right? But we try. This particular customer, they are doing routine maintenance, but those condensers just plug up. Now, it's not every store that does that, so I totally understand. You know, it's a case-by-case basis on restaurants that are going to need to be cleaned more often. This one, within weeks, if not a month, the condensers are plugged, especially that kitchen one. And it has a little bit to do with the grease that comes from the exhaust fans, and then it has a lot to do with the pollen / cottonwood, whatever it is. I don't know exactly. I don't think it's like cottonwood like you guys have back east in the Midwest. It's something different, but same concept. It's just like a pollen or something that's in the air, and it just gets attracted to these condensers. I have certain restaurants that it gets it really, really bad. And the interesting thing is that, forgive me, you can hear my dogs running around in the backyard, but there's not a similarity between every restaurant, but we can have the same stuff building up on the coils. So that's why I say it's not like cottonwood. I don't know exactly what it is, but you know, when everybody will comment, well, I need to put hood extensions on the exhaust fans. I mean, that might help, but that also makes it a pain in the butt to work on the exhaust fans. It's just one of those things you have to deal with. You know, we could put, well, you know, I'll get people in the comments and say, well, but you should put a curb adapter and rotate the AC around. That's just unrealistic. Like, it really is. We don't need to make it harder to work on the ACs. Yeah, the condenser gets dirty a little bit more often, but it only happens like in the summertime. You know, it's not that big of a deal. I shouldn't say it only happens, but it's not as big of a deal in the winter time or anything like that. So, whatever. You know, it's just one of those things. We deal with it. We try to make the customer right. In this situation, the condenser fan motor was definitely part of the problem too. You know, we don't just go in blindsided. I get a lot of people asking me, why do I waste my time taking the air blower and blowing out the condenser? I mean, I kind of explained it in the video, but it's because I want to be able to troubleshoot right away. You know, it's one thing if you're just doing a maintenance and you're not going to be putting gauges on the unit or anything like that. But even still, I've seen weird situations where in the middle of the summertime heat and the really, really hot climates, when the units are under a heavy load, they'll trip head pressure when those condensers are blocked off like that. And just from experience watching them, like I explained in the video, Once you get a small passage cleared, it'll start pulling all the air through that, and it ignores kind of the rest of the condenser, and the rest of the condenser is just getting really, really hot. So for me, I like to clean them off, you know, take an air blower, take a vacuum, whatever it is. I've done both, you know, and then just get majority of the water off. That way you can troubleshoot better right away, right? So I can't stress enough that, you know, when you have customers that do want you to maintain their equipment and are okay with repairs, you know, in the situation like this, we had a single bad condenser fan motor, but since we were in there, we tested all the rest of the capacitors, and we had one that was right at the threshold. The other two were fine, right? So we changed the capacitor on the bad motor, then we tested all three of the other ones, and we found that two were perfect, but then one was right at the threshold of being low, so we changed it with the customer's approval, right? But we changed it. We eliminated another potential future service call, right? And, you know, I like to give my customer those options without making them feel like I'm upselling them, right? Now, granted, I'm also in the commercial sector where we're not doing flat rate pricing. I'm there. They're being charged for my labor already, right? So for me to add an extra $15 capacitor to the invoice, it's not even a thought in their mind. On the residential side, when you guys do flat rate pricing, you know, and you price the way that you do, I understand the reason why. I still don't do it. Like I don't know, it's a whole thing. But it's a little bit harder to convince the customer that you're there doing a maintenance and they need a $600 capacitor, okay? There's also an argument against that, a $600 capacitor. When you're as an upsell on other items, that's when everybody thinks you're shady, okay? And you can't argue with me that if you're already there doing a service, right? Now, granted, I realize that a lot of the times the maintenances that on the residential side, you're doing those as a loss leader. And this is what the general homeowner doesn't understand, and this is where the residential side is hurting themselves. When they do flat rate pricing, I understand it from some aspects as a business owner. Obviously, I understand overhead expenses and different things like that, right? I get it, okay? But if you do a maintenance as a loss leader, you're setting a precedent in the customer's mind that a maintenance should cost $60, $40, $29.99, whatever. What the customer doesn't understand is that you're doing that maintenance at a loss to try to upsell them on everything that they may or may not need, right? You try to sell them all your bullshit, you know, air cleaner stuff that doesn't work, that's all fake, that's all a scam. 100%, all those air cleaners are a pure scam, okay? High quality air filters, no UV BS, none of that, no iodine, you know, freaking needlepoint bipolar ionizer, that's all a scam. All of it is BS, okay? High quality air cleaner, fresh outside air, that's the most you can do for a house, okay? You are not getting into all this BS, you know, it's all a scam, okay, all that. I went off on a tangent on that, whatever. But a lot of times those maintenance programs are loss leaders to get you in the door so that way your technician can upsell the customer. And you're hurting the industry and you're hurting yourself. If you had more honest pricing, right, if you were time and materials, your life would be better. But I also understand the argument that time and materials, there's an unknown. The customer doesn't know what it's going to cost when you come in the door, right? With flat rate pricing, you can tell them, yeah, the maintenance is going to cost this much, and if I have to sell you a capacitor, it's going to be $600. If we have to change a compressor, it's going to be $5,000, whatever it is. Time and materials, I'm giving him an estimate. It's not a guaranteed price. If I got to change a compressor, I might estimate it at 8 hours, right? But I might get done in 6, and then I only bill them for 6 hours, okay? So yeah, there's a variable in there, and the customer doesn't know the price, what it's fully gonna be, but that's also what they don't know for the rest of their life. They take their car to the auto mechanic. They don't know how much it's gonna be. They don't know what kind of problems they're gonna run into. So anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. Don't know why I did that. I totally lost my train of thought on that, but whatever. It is what it is. I'll leave it in here. Fight me if you think those air cleaners actually do anything. Bring me the scientific third-party data that says those bipolar ionizers actually do something besides creating things that you don't want to have in your house. On a whole side note, again, because I'm off on this tangent, I've had to install some of those stupid bipolar ionizers during COVID when one of my customers was adamant that they wanted this stuff. And I'm like, trust me, you do not want me to sell you this. They wanted it so bad. They signed on the dotted lines that I said it wasn't going to do anything, and they had me install them. Long story short, I ended up with an extra one, and I was like, I'm curious. So I hooked it up, put it in my office, put a ceiling fan on, moving the air, left the ceiling fan on high, and I went away for the weekend. When I came back into my office had the very distinct smell of bleach, okay? That is a byproduct, a bad byproduct of the whole needle point bipolar ionizer stuff. That is proving that they do create those bad things, right? Now, granted, I guess there's an argument to be made that they create it on such a small scale that it's minuscule and it's not really gonna do anything. Sure, I guess so. But all those manufacturers, they don't use real third-party data, unbiased third-party data to prove that their products work. In fact, and this is what the industry doesn't know, is that there is about to be scientific data and recommendations from some of the biggest industry standard organizations that are gonna basically say that all those air cleaners and things like that don't do squat. And it's coming out. It's gonna be released very soon. And all you companies that upsell on all that BS, good luck, you know? Instead, just do honest, good, hard work. Train your technicians, invest in them, teach them how to be real mechanics that can fix things, be honest, and do the right work, so maybe we can build this industry back up. And I guess the other hurdle that we have to do is getting out all these companies that, you know, and these investment companies that are, you know, just investing into this industry and they're not doing so good. But anyways, yeah, I'm going off on a tangent as usual. So I do my best in these videos and for my customer. That's the bottom line is I'm trying to help my customer because I don't want to try to rip my customers off. It doesn't benefit me at all to make a quick extra $100 on something that I do. It really doesn't, all right? I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Thank you so very much. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Leave me some feedback down in the YouTube comments. Feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. Couple different ways to support the channel if you're interested in doing so. The easiest way is literally just watch the videos from beginning to end. That is really the easiest way, okay? But there's also links in the show notes to PayPal, Patreon, and YouTube channel memberships. Those are all different ways that you can choose to donate to the channel, whether it be a one-time or a monthly commitment. You guys can choose to do so. You can also go to my website, hvacrvideos.com, where we have merchandise available, another great way to help support the channel, such as these hats right here. And last but not least, you see any stuff that I'm using in this video, the Viper coil cleaner, the Viper coil cleaning gun, the job link probes that I use to probe up on the system. You can pick all that stuff up from TrueTechTools.com. TrueTechTools.com is a small family business, very good people. I actually have an affiliate link set up with them. So if you use my affiliate code, big picture, one word, right? So that is one word. You mash the two words, big and picture, together with no space. Put that in at checkout on majority of the items on their website. You're gonna get a small discount. I get a small commission from that when you do that, and it's a great way to help support the channel again, okay? TrueTechTools.com, offer code big picture, one word. Thank you so very much. Sorry for the rant as usual. If there's anything you want to talk to me about, feel free to put it in the YouTube comments. Shoot me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. You can hit me up on all the social media platforms at hvacrvideos. Thank you so very much, and hope to catch you on the next one.